Our second case study in the administration topic is that of Pannonia. So the key questions to answer are: number 1, why did Augustus invade Pannonia? Number 2, why did the Pannonians revolt against Rome? Number 3, how did the Romans react to this and why? And number 4, how was the rebellion dealt with? So a bit of background. You can see here in the map this kind of pinky green area at the top is where Pannonia is, so it's north east of Italy along the river Danube. So Augustus had wanted to work on Rome's eastern boundaries, and so he planned to extend the frontier of the Roman Empire to the Danube River, and this river would be a sort of natural border between the empire on one side and the hostile Germanic tribes on the other side. So during 12 to 9 BC, the Romans were really active around this Danube area. So Noricum, the pink one, which was a neighbouring province, was very easily subdued. However, Pannonia proved more difficult, and it took the Romans about 4 years of really difficult fighting in order to capture it. And then after this, during 4 to 6 AD, sort of 10 or so years later, the Romans were fighting against the Marcomanni tribe in Germany because they wanted to secure the land to the west of the Elbe River, so kind of work on Rome's northwestern boundaries. And Drusus and Tiberius had achieved a number of successes across the Rhine in Germany, but the locals there were quite resistant to Roman rule. So they were preparing to campaign in Germany, and so in AD 6 Tiberius had 12 legions and was ready to invade. However, at this time, the Pannonians had been disarmed, so they'd had all their weapons taken from them, their armies had been disbanded, and they had been enslaved. And rather than subjugating them and making them more peaceful, it provoked them, which I guess is fair enough. So they rose up in revolt against their Roman masters in AD 6. Confusingly, the revolt was led by a chief called Bato, a Pannonian chief called Bato, and a Dalmatian leader also called Bato. And so they massacred the Roman residents who were living in the colonies out that way, and then they began to head for Rome. This provoked a huge panic in Rome. So the prospect of having these enemies invading from the north reminded the Romans of Hannibal crossing the Alps during the Carthaginian Punic Wars, and it also reminded them of the threat posed by the Cimbri, who were a Gallic tribe who invaded when Marius was consul. There were also very few forces between Rome and Dalmatia, which made the frontier very vulnerable, and the large size of the revolt meant that it needed strong resistance from the Romans. However, the Romans did successfully deal with it. So in AD 7, Tiberius was removed from Germany, and he successfully stopped the Pannonians from heading to Rome. And so nearly 3 years and 15 legions later, the Pannonians surrendered. And so Germanicus, who was the son of Drusus, was successful in forcing the Dalmatian Bato to surrender. And as a result of all this, Pannonia was made into a Roman province. So the key questions to answer are: number 1, why did Augustus invade Pannonia? Number 2, why did the Pannonians revolt? Number 3, how did the Romans react and why? And number 4, how was the rebellion ended? So if you've got any questions or problems, note them down and we can discuss them in class.